Hello everyone. Today we are going to go over how to do the falling leaf stitch. And as you can see, it's post stitches. They're actually modified puff stitches, and they alternate, so they kind of fall. It's kind of cool pattern. I recently used this in my adventure blanket, so this was one of the strips for that. This is the front, which works, like I said, the puff stitches. Now, if you look at the back, it looks very different, but so it's not a double-sided pattern, but if you're using this for an entire blanket, it actually still looks really nice on the back side as well. Okay, so that is what we're going to be doing for today's tutorial. I am Christine from Ambassador Crochet, and if you have never been here, welcome. So let's get started. So for the falling leaf stitch, we are going to work in multiples of 4 stitches plus 2. So that will cover the beginning chain that we need to skip and any, extra stitches that we need on either end that are not included in the repeat. So for this, I'm going to work, I think I'll work 22. So 20 is the repeat of 4, and then so we'll have 5 repeats, and then we'll have the extra 2 stitches. So 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Okay, 22. So now we're going to single crochet in the second chain from the hook and in each chain across. Okay, as we get to the end of row 1, so we did a chain 22. So if we skip to the first one, we now have 21 single crochet. Okay, so for row 2, row 1 and 2 are pretty much setup rows. You need 2 rows of single crochet to start this. So we did our first row of single crochet. Now we're going to chain 1 and turn, and then we're just going to work 1 single crochet across, all the way across again. And that way we'll have the 2 rows of single crochet to set up the repeats. Okay, we get to the end of this row, and now we have, whoops, I missed that one. Okay, now we have our 2 rows of single crochet. Okay, so now we have our setup rows done. So for this next row, we're going to be working double crochets as well as a modified puff stitch, and we're going to do that all the way across. So we're going to chain 1 and turn, and then we're going to double crochet in the first 3 stitches. So I tend to work a chain 1 and a double crochet. You can work your chain 3 as your first double crochet. I used to work chain 2 and then a double crochet just to get it up to the height. Now I just tend to work that chain 1 a little taller so that I can get the hook up, to the right height of this row. However you do it, you can do a standing double crochet. There's a bunch of different methods for that, but just make sure you do that double crochet in the first one, whatever your double crochet version is. So 1, 2, 3 double crochet, and then we're going to do a modified puff stitch. So the modified puff stitch it's a puff stitch worked around the post. So this is how I did it. So it's going into this next stitch, but we're not going to work into this. We're going to work one row below. Okay, so we're going to work around the post of the single crochet, 2 rows below. This would be 1 row below, this would be 2 rows below. And the easiest way to do it the very first time is we're working into the 4th stitch. So if you look at row 1, count 4 stitches over. 1, 2, 3, 4. So we're going to be working around this single crochet right here. Okay, so we're going to yarn over and we're going to work. You're going to insert your hook to the back and then back out the front, and you're going to yarn over and pull up a loop, pull it up to the height of that row so it's not too tight, and then you're going to do that again. You're going to yarn over and work around that same post, yarn over and pull up a loop, and now you have 5 loops on the hook. You're going to yarn over and pull through 4 of them. Okay, so now we have 2 loops, and then you're going to yarn over and pull through the last 2, and that closes it. And the reason I did that was because I could yarn over and close it, but then most of the time to actually close that puff stitch, most designers will use a chain 1, but I don't want to add anything back in. So this is a good way of closing it and only ending up with the 1 stitch on top. Okay, so we have our puff stitch. So now we're going to do 3 double crochet again. So our modified puff stitch, this is the new stitch. So we're going to skip this one. We don't work into that. And then we're going to work 3 double crochet. So it takes a little while to get used to this, but skip this one and then work 3 double crochet. Okay. So again, if you can see, I'm going to skip that and work into the next one. And I'm going to do 1, 2, 3. And then it starts to get easier as you go across, because what you'll do is, especially for the first row, now you can just count 3 and then you're going to work around. So we have the puff stitch here, 1, 2, 3. You're going to work around this single crochet down here. And you're going to repeat that. Yarn over, pull up a loop, make sure it's up a little high so it's not too tight, and repeat that. And now you have 5 loops on your hook. I try not to get them twisted. You have 5 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through 4, and then yarn over, pull through 2. And then you'll end up with those little post puff stitches. I called it a modified puff stitch. 1, 2, 3 double crochet, and then the modified puff. So we're going to skip 1, 2, 3, and we're going to work that modified puff around that. Whoops, and I dropped it. Yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull up a loop, pull through 4, pull through 2. Okay. And then we're going to skip this and work 3 double crochet. We're going to work that all the way across. Okay, and then when you get to the end, just double crochet in that last double crochet, single crochet, sorry about that. Okay, now we have our double crochets and then the modified puff all the way across. Okay, so for the next row, what we're gonna do is we're going to chain 1, and we're just going to work single crochet all the way across. So we're gonna work a single crochet, and when you get to the puff stitch, see, this is where the single crochet row was. This is where the puff stitch row was. So just make sure you're working into that puff stitch. And you're going to work that all the way across to the end. Okay, and when you get to the last modified puff stitch, then you're just going to work into the end stitches, those last 3 stitches. And now you have your next row. So see how they fall in between each other just a little bit. They're not stacked on top. Like this would be the top of this row, which is halfway. So they're stacked inside each other, which gives it the falling leaf effect. So now we're going to do another row of single crochet. And then when we do our next puff stitch row, it will be over these and it will alternate all the way across and you'll get that effect. So let's do another single crochet row. And now we're going to turn and we are going to work another row of we're going to work another row of this first repeat. So it'll be this row, single crochet, this row, and then we'll do another row of this, single crochet, this. So it's just this 4-row repeat that we're working across. Okay, so this is the falling leaf stitch, the falling leaves stitch. And I actually love the way this looks. This color, I used the pink in the adventure blanket, or the heathered rose, I believe it was called. But I actually, now that I'm doing this tutorial, I kind of love it in this color. I think it actually stands out very well on this. So you can just see there's just enough texture. It's not a hard stitch to learn. And once you get into the groove, like I said, it's just that 4-row repeat. And next you would work single crochet and this, and just keep working that back and forth. I do have the written tutorial for the adventure blanket on my blog. If you want to go there, I will link to that in the comments. I am so glad you joined us, and I would love for you to hashtag adventure blanket, or just tag me in your post if you're working this through on a blanket, and hit the subscribe button, and I will see you next time.